Hello, hello, it's Myrtle Man here, and today I am doing my New York City subway route tier list. So, I've been thinking of a creative way to do this, and I have finally come up with one, because I've been wanting to do this video for a long time. So, we're here in my Times Square recreation. Don't ask for it. I'm not releasing the map, so stop asking. Okay, so let's get started. So first we have the one. So the one train. The one train is it's a local IRT route that runs along the west side of Manhattan. It stays confined to Manhattan, and I don't like it. Quite honestly, I don't like it. It's depressing. It doesn't feel lively when I go on it. It's just depressing. So it's a C tier. I don't like it. Okay, so the 2 line. The 2 line goes through much of the same areas as the 1 in Manhattan. However, in the Bronx, it goes via the White Plains Road L. So, considering it does have an interesting elevated portion, that gives it an extra point. However, it does drag on for quite a while in the Bronx. I believe it takes as long. So to go from the first/last stop, or the terminal in the Bronx, takes to Manhattan, takes as long as it does to get through Manhattan. It takes longer for the 2 to go from its terminal to Manhattan than some routes take to complete. So the 2 is very long, and just so you guys know, I have railfanned / taken a trip on every ride at least once. So I've been on every route, the complete route, just for fun. So I'm not coming at this from the perspective of somebody who doesn't ride any of the routes and maybe just takes 1 or 2. No, I've taken all of them, so I think it's fair enough for me to make a decision on these routes. So I'm going to rank the 2 train a B tier, just because it is fun on the Express. It's especially functionally, it's quite good on the 7th Avenue Broadway Express. So if you've ever used it functionally, it's quite useful there. So I'll make it a B tier, but it doesn't quite have what it takes to be an A tier line, in my opinion. So here we have the 3. The 3 is another interesting route. It's I'd say the 3 is more interesting than the 2. The 3 starts at Harlem, and it has this really cool terminal at 148th Street, which I was surprised that something like that even existed. It was really cool. It goes via Lenox Avenue or I believe it might be Malcolm X Boulevard, but that's I guess it goes via 6th Avenue, which is also called Malcolm X Boulevard, but it's really a continuation of 6th Avenue on the north side of Central Park. So it goes via 6th Avenue North, and then it goes via the Broadway 7th Avenue line. It's pretty good as an express, and then it goes local. And since the route is more interesting than the 2, I will rate the 3 an A tier. But it's not the safest in some areas, but I won't really decide based on that for this one, since areas change over time and can be improved. So next we have the 4 line. So the 4 line, to me, it's a similar case to the 2. So it's very fast through Brooklyn. It's pretty cool on Lexington Avenue, I'll admit, but it drags on in the Bronx. It really drags on. By the time it reaches Woodlawn, it doesn't even feel like you've taken a journey. It just feels like you've gone through the Bronx. It doesn't feel like you've taken this big journey to reach Woodlawn. No, it just feels like you've went through the Bronx, basically. It doesn't feel like anything special. So I'm going to make it... I'll make it a B tier, just because of Lexington Avenue. No, I'm making it a C tier. It's a C tier. Okay, so let's put that back. In case I have to re-record this, that's why I'm putting these back. The 5 line. Okay, the 5 line. Let's see. The 5 line is a very similar case to the 4 and 2. It drags on quite a bit in the Bronx. However, it does have more interesting announcements. However, they have tainted those with the 2 train announcements. It does have a lot of cool turns, though, on what I believe is called the White Plains Road L, or the Bronx L. It occasionally runs express in the Bronx. Of course, it does cut back during the night, but I'm going to rate it a C. I can't rate the 5 above the 4, so I'm going to make it a C tier. And the 6 line. Okay. The 6th line, I liked it better when it had R142As. But, again, I'm not going to judge this list off of rolling stock, since, as some of you may have seen with the G line recently, that changes quite, not frequently, but frequently enough to completely mix up a route. So, for this one... I wish I could have rail fanned it when it had R142As. I didn't really have the same interest, and I wouldn't have cared enough at the time to go out and ride it with R142As. But some of those videos are pretty cool on the Pelham elevated line in the Bronx. So I'll give it an A. The 6 can be an A tier. And I know some people will be very upset that I've ranked the 6 above the 4. But this is my list, so I'm giving it my honest opinions. So next we have the 7. The 7, it's interesting. The 7 was a shared route, the Flushing line, between the IRT and the BMT. So... it's a quite interesting route. But, this is a tough one. I'm not going to make it a C tier. I'm debating right now between making it a B tier or an A tier. So, it does have R188, but I'm not deciding based off rolling stock. I'm just deciding based off if it had any rolling stock. It does look quite cool with any car type, so I'll make the 7, I'll give it S tier. So the 7 can be an S tier route. Okay, so let's move on. So now we have the I and D routes. So the A line, I think it's very overrated. It's it goes along with the West Side Lines theme of being quite honestly depressing. So I'm not going to give the A an S tier. I'm contemplating between A tier and B tier. So Central Park West, with R179s, it is quite an interesting ride. But it's very long, but it works because I feel like it combines the journey aspect with length. So I think it works well. So I'll give the A an A tier, funnily enough. So the A can be an A tier route on my list. So next we have the C. All right. So now we have the E. So the E goes from Jamaica Center to World Trade Center, and it runs via the Queens Boulevard Express. The problem with the E is, much like the C, it doesn't go outside, and the E train feels underwhelming. It sort of suggests that there should have been more, which in fact there should have. But you can thank Robert Moses for that, so it's a C tier. So next we have the B line. The B line, it's pretty handy. There have been times when I've railfanned the Q line back when it had R160s and was great. And the B line was a quick way back to Manhattan. So I'm going to give the B line a B tier. And I'm not doing that because they're both B. That's just where I think it falls. Okay. So the D line. The D line. I like the D line with R160s. But the Bronx on it is quite boring. All of the stations are using, most of them anyway, use the same paint job. They're either yellow, gray, or red, with the exception of 183rd Street and Bedford Park Boulevard and Norwood. But most of them are yellow, and I hate, well, I don't hate. Hate's a strong word for that. I dislike yellow station, but it is cool with R160s, but when it's old tech, if it doesn't have R160s, then it just kind of sucks. It does have the elevated portion in Brooklyn, yeah. I'll give it that, but it's the least interesting of the Coney Island lines. The only time that it's really interesting is when they put R160s on it, and the last time that happened in substantial numbers happened years ago. The F. Okay, the F. I like the F. It goes from Jamaica via Hillside Avenue in Queens. Then it goes a little bit local on Queens Boulevard. It's local for a few stops. Then it flies through the express section, and quickly it makes its way down 6th Avenue. And then, it's a bit relaxed in Brooklyn, but I like the Culver line. I really do. And the McDonald Avenue section of that is very interesting to me. It has a very interesting feel, the Culver L. So I'm going to give the F an S tier. Okay. So there we go. So next up we have the M line. So the M line goes from Forest Hills via Queens Boulevard local, which can really drag on. It really does. I honestly like the R ride on Queens Boulevard local better, but I don't dislike the M ride there. It goes via 6th Avenue with the F. Then it's elevated in Brooklyn. I'll give it an A tier. Although it does feel like a mashup of different lines, so I'm going to do a B tier. Okay, the L. The 14th Street Canarsie line. So now, let's do the G first. The G, it has R160s now. So that does make it more interesting to me. But even with R160s, it hadn't been that interesting, although it sort of was. I'm torn between a C tier and a B tier. Yeah, this is going to piss off a lot of people. But I'm making it a B tier. So the G will be a B tier. And I know people are going to rage that I put the G above the E. How could I, right? Horrible, horrible. But that's what I've chosen to do. So now we have the BMT lines. So the L train. The L train, B tier. Nothing too special, nothing too up there, but it does have some interesting stops. Wilson Avenue is pretty interesting. It's quite a creepy line, to be honest. A lot of BMT lines are. So it's a B tier, solid B tier, I'd say. Where is it? There it is. Okay. The J line. The J line is, I believe it's the most elevated line in the system. The majority of the route is elevated. There are more elevated stops on the J line than the 7. Where do I want to put the J? It's either an A or an S for me. Honest rating, an A or an S. It goes across the Williamsburg Bridge. The J feels complete. The J has this really cool winding area next to a massive park and cemetery, which is really cool in my opinion. It does have the L, the elevated section that continues past Broadway Junction, and I'm going to do an A. I think A is fair. A is fair. Are we changing the back too? No. Okay, good. So the J can be an A tier, and it looks like I've forgotten the N, Q, R, and W. The Z is a D tier for me. All right, so the N, S tier. The Q, S tier. The R, D tier. The W, F tier. All right, so I'll explain that. So the N, the Sea Beach line, is very cool. The Broadway section is very cool. The Q has the 2nd Avenue line and the Broadway Express, and it goes via the Manhattan Bridge. And then both of these lines have trenches or open cuts, which I think are really cool. So, and they also both go to Coney Island. So they're both S tier. Now we move on to the signs. So I did at the G, the V, just where it belongs. The V is an F tier for me. I do think it is better served as the M. It was literally combined into the M line by subtracting one stop. So it's an F for me. The brown M is also, and no, it's a D. I don't have a sign that I can put a brown circle on right now. I'd have to leave and then everything would unload. The T line. The T line is going to be the 2nd Avenue line. The problem is it's too short. It has to go to the Bronx, and it has to go to Brooklyn. It just suggests that it does that. If you look at the route, it looks like it should continue. At least it should either be a 125th Street crosstown, or it should go to the Bronx, or Brooklyn, or both. There was an IND 2nd system plan, which would have done that. So I'm making the current plans of the T line a C tier. And just for fun, I will add my fictional lines, the U and P. So the U train is a fictional line that I am building, which goes from Bayside via the Northern Boulevard and Astoria Express, then via 21st Street and Queens to 2nd Avenue via the Express. Then it follows a 2nd system plan through Williamsburg and then via Utica Avenue. I'll put it as a B tier. And the P train comes from the Bronx, which will replace the 3rd Avenue L. And for that, it's a C tier. Well, no, I'll give it a D tier because it goes to the Bronx. It's longer than the C. So it can be a C tier. It's basically, well, no, it's not, because it goes to the Bronx, so it's not another C train. I'll do that. Then I have my fictional O route, which is the 125th Street slash Fresh Meadows line to Springfield Boulevard. So I'll give that a B tier as well, since 125th Street should have a crosstown so that people from the east side of Manhattan can access the west side without having to go all the way down to Midtown. So that's my ranking. That's my tier list of the New York City subway and my fictional routes. So let's just grab a thumbnail quickly. Okay, so I am Myrtle Man. I hope you guys enjoyed this tier list and the background scenery. I am Myrtle Man. Please subscribe, like, and comment. Goodbye. Thanks for watching.